The level of tariff increases announced so far is significantly larger than anticipated, and the same is likely to be true of the economic effects, which will include higher inflation and slower growth.
That's the Federal Reserve Chairman, who is known for choosing his words very carefully, saying very clearly today that President Trump's tariff policy is going to have real consequences for all of us. As he was talking, the stock market nosedived. Now, the chairman also referenced the great philosopher Ferris Bueller during his speech today, which I'm going to share with you in a second. But first, I want to focus on the serious stuff he said about how the Fed is preparing for all of this so you can understand it and prepare yourself too. Chairman Jerome Powell was speaking at the Economic Club of Chicago this afternoon. Now, in case you didn't know, the Federal Reserve, which is an independent body that operates within the federal government, has a very well-defined two-part job. They have two goals. One, to ensure maximum employment, and two, to facilitate stable prices. Today, Chair Powell said the Fed has worked really hard since the pandemic to get inflation under control without also crashing the economy. He said the Fed was so close to hitting that so-called soft landing as recently as last year. But then he said in January, everything changed.
2024 was a year where the economy grew 2.4%. Unemployment remained in the low fours, close to mainstream estimates of maximum employment, and inflation came down and was running at the end of the year around 2.5%. That's the economy that we had. Where we are now, again, to your question, is the administration is, as I mentioned in my remarks, is implementing significant policy changes, and particularly trade now is the focus. And the effects of that are likely to move us away from our goals. So unemployment is likely to go up as the economy slows in all likelihood, and inflation is likely to go up as tariffs find their way, and some part of those tariffs come to be paid by the public.
Now, I have been reporting since last year that you are the one who pays for tariffs, not the other countries, not Mexico, not China, you and me. And the Fed chairman says historically, not only do tariffs cause inflation on certain items that are directly impacted by the actual tariff, but they can also even impact other items that are not directly impacted by the specific tariff. For example, Powell has said when washing machines get hit with a tariff, that increases the cost of washing machines and the price of washing machines. But oftentimes manufacturers will also increase the price of dryers, not because the dryer was hit with a tariff, but because the price of washing machines went up. So they could just raise the price on both. Powell says the Fed is going to do whatever it can to prevent this inflation from these tariffs from escalating.
And indeed, our role is to make sure that this will be a one-time increase in prices and not something that turns into an ongoing inflation process. That's a big part of our job.
The good news, according to Chairman Powell, is, he says, because of all the work the Federal Reserve has done, the U.S. economy, at least right now, is fairly strong. We have a strong jobs market, and yes, at least right now, inflation is at 2.4%. That is not the Fed's 2% goal, but it is definitely close. Powell said no matter what these tariffs bring to the U.S. economy, the Federal Reserve is ready to respond.
As that great Chicagoan Ferris Bueller once noted, life moves pretty fast. For the time being, we are well positioned to wait for greater clarity before considering any adjustments to our policy stance. We continue to analyze the incoming data, the evolving outlook, and the balance of risks. We understand that elevated levels of unemployment or inflation can be damaging and painful for communities, families, and businesses. We will continue to do everything we can to achieve our maximum employment and price stability goals.